Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your overly caffeinated and sleep-deprived host, Tony Cañas. My Mac has 10,000 tabs open. Chrome is collapsing at times. You can see me slow down because no matter how much how much RAM you put into a Mac, it cannot keep up with my ADHD. So my apologies on that. And today I have with me Nicolas Christiaen, CEO and co-founder at Donna, and Jimmy Illiohan, general manager at LINKITSYSTEMS. And today we are recording about Donna. So first of all, thank you both for joining me today. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Doing very well. Great to be here and being joined by Jimmy.
Awesome.
I don't know how I see you guys.
And for the listeners, so basically the relationship here is LINKITSYSTEMS is an SI, does a lot of insurance work, and they are the ones that are bringing Donna into the US space. Okay, so that's why we have people from both companies. And Nicolas, if I remember correctly, is in Belgium, right?
Right now, I am, and I'm flying back and forth between Belgium and the US quite a lot.
So, Brussels, or where in Belgium are you?
I'm actually in the beautiful city of Ghent. It's It's actually typically if you take the train from Brussels to Bruges, everyone knows Brussels, everyone knows Bruges. Most people don't know Ghent. It's just basically the first hop off after after you start your train ride.
Okay, so May 27th, we're recording. For here in the US, it's Tuesday after Memorial Day. So we had yesterday off. And I'm guessing the weather in Belgium in May, beautiful?
It should be, but it's not today. So it's pretty rainy. Heading actually tomorrow to very sunny Spain. So
beautiful, awesome. Which part of Spain are you heading to?
Mallorca.
Oh, beautiful. I spent a week last year in Mallorca. My sister-in-law was training for a half Ironman. So she was biking in Mallorca, and I was training for a half marathon on roller skates in Mallorca. We had a blast almost exactly a year ago. So yeah, I'm guessing you've been before because you're from Europe, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you are in New York, right?
Yeah, I am.
I'll be in New York next week for InsurTech Insights New York. I don't know if you'll be there. How is the weather in New York? Late May. I'm guessing beautiful, not yet hot.
So yesterday was nice. We had some sun. Today it started with sun, but we got back into the clouds. So I saw some promising forecasts for next week. So
I will take clouds over muggy New York summers, right? Like the super hot New York summers. So I hope we're still cloudy next week.
We may have some bad luck, but let's see.
All right. Thank you for breaking my heart. Okay. So we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Donna?
Well, Tony, Donna is the perfect sales assistant for sales reps on the go. So imagine you're an insurance carrier, insurance broker, and basically you're one of the reps representing your team. You're on the road a lot, you're a lot on the go. And when you actually enter meetings, you typically would like to be prepared. And at the end of the meetings, you typically have a lot of notes to share with the team and to fill into the CRM. But obviously what happens in a lot of the cases is those CRMs don't get filled, or it only happens at night or when you're in the couch and you basically are not wanting to put them into the CRM. So in a lot of the cases, it leads to friction when filling in those CRM systems, but equally also to the sales team not being effective. So what Donna ultimately is a person, an actual virtual assistant an AI-based virtual assistant that you can actually talk to the entire day. Before meetings, she will, on the go, you can call to her, by the way, and she'll actually inform you about the meeting that is coming up. So whether that's a broker, whether that's the client, you'll be informed about the latest and greatest, including all the information that is actually captured before by herself or within the CRM. So she'll use that actually to brief you and to allow you to be coached well and to make that conversation go well. And afterwards, and this is of course the real magic, you just call back or she calls you back because she knows your calendar. And then you actually do another briefing together with her in a real-time conversation, back and forth. She'll ask you lots of questions to make sure that your CRM is filled with all the right notes, but also your follow-up tasks, follow-up emails, opportunities, everything is kept up to date. And it's typically saving enormous amounts of times. So 75% of the time typically being saved of all the admin work. But increasing CRM adoption by over 6 to 10 times the original state. So yeah, imagine that, having a Donna always by your side.
Perfect. All right, so I always bring it back a little bit to my own experience. And in this case, I don't know if an hour will be enough time. I have been a carrier sales manager twice in my career. What the agencies call a marketing rep. So I did that job for Allied Insurance out in California, and then I did that job for American Modern out in California also. Also, I was an underwriter twice. I did that job for Nationwide Agribusiness out of Des Moines, Iowa, and my territory was Maryland and Delaware. And then I did it for Liberty Mutual out of Atlanta, Georgia, where I live now, and my territory was Mississippi. In all of those jobs, it would have been, and then I did it for 4.5 years for the Jacobson Group, which is the largest recruiting firm in the insurance space in the U.S. In all of those jobs, so I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 years of experience where this would have been amazing. Quite simply, I personally, and I think a lot of salespeople are similar to me, some are worse, but personally, I'm good at prepping for a first meeting. I suck at prepping for a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and especially when I'm required by the company, like as a sales manager for an insurance company, every month I have to go visit every agent, right? That's the whole way it works. And
I'm with you.
And once a quarter, like my American Modern days, once a quarter, I'm bringing them a what's it called? A check, not a commission check, but a profit share check.
Yeah.
That, funnily enough, that time they're always excited to see me, right? And every once in a while I'm taken to a baseball game or whatever, and that time they're excited to see me. But the rest of the meetings, right, the other 10 meetings of the year, the other 8 meetings of the year, or whatever, it's a bit of a pain because unless something big has happened, I might not have a good agenda, or it might take me a ton of time to create that good agenda. Having an AI who's smart, and it sounds like she can research them for me.
Yep.
And definitely like find in the CRM what I need to know. That is mind-blowingly amazing. Okay, now the post meeting.
Yep.
I was decent at that piece. And when I say decent, what I mean is I took extensive notes, and then eventually my notes ended up in the CRM. But that eventually might be 3 weeks later, it might be 5 weeks later, okay? And the fact that they end up in the CRM does not mean that they're being used today now that I'm no longer there, right? Okay. And I had plenty of coworkers and at least one manager I can think of who were really, really bad at getting their notes in the CRM, right? Not because they didn't want to, but...
Tony, did you remember actually if you do 3 weeks later? Like,
oh, yeah, no. If I'm putting them in the system 3 weeks later, because, and why 3 weeks later? Because I know which day of the month my boss is going to run the report, right? So if the meeting happened 2 days before that day, then the notes got in 2 days before that day. But the reality is the notes always went in Sunday before the Monday that my boss ran the report, right? Now I put them on the correct date and stuff, but you're absolutely correct. My recollection of the events, even though I took extensive notes, is going to be significantly worse if it's 3 weeks later. So yes, if I could leave the meeting, call Donna, and just by voice tell her about the meeting, and that end up correctly put in the CRM, in the task system, and everything else, that is a mind-blowing level of more efficient and more effective. So yeah, this really makes me think, assuming, right, for the listeners, I have not played with the system, right? I always give my disclaimer just in case, but assuming this works halfway as well as you're describing it, it really makes me think. I've done almost 700 episodes of this podcast. Well, that's not accurate. I've done like 400 I've done like 500, and Lamparelli did about 200. I have never before thought of what I'm thinking of right now, which is the H.G. Wells quote of any technology advanced enough is indistinguishable from magic. I'm a magician. I'm a professionally trained magician who did not remember to load his Fire wallet earlier today. So it's not lighting, but yes, hold on. There it is, just a little bit. It should be really large. I forgot to load it. But yes, this would be, if this works, it would be indistinguishable from magic. And quite simply, your expensive salespeople who are not good at the CRM have simply no excuse.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on.
By
the way, Jim tried it. Jim didn't believe it at first as well, right?
Okay. No, I believe it. I want it for myself. Now I run a little recruiting firm nowadays, and I want it for myself. Holy crap! Okay, so yeah, I think that not only can I intuitively see how this would be useful, every sales manager who's listening to this, anybody in a leadership role in underwriting or sales at an insurance organization, or anybody in sales at a commercial lines focused agency or brokerage can immediately see the advantage of this. So
actually, the brokers too. I mean, a few weeks ago, I was in Hartford talking to a broker over there who worked for a large broker firm here in the U.S. And when I pitched Donna or told him more about Donna, it was very enthusiastic. Of course, I wanted to know more about Donna. And when I followed up with him, it was only a few days later, I got an auto reply saying he was out of the office on the road with limited access to his email. So imagine that broker being on the road trying to engage with his clients or prospects. How does he go back from those meetings, capturing the highlights and the next steps in his CRM system? So with a solution like Donna, it's not anymore about sitting behind your laptop, logging in, trying to remember or rewriting your notes. It's about having that same conversation, just one more phone call in the day, talking to your sales assistant to capture those notes for you. And even better, that sales assistant does not only capture the notes, it also asks the right questions, so you get trained in asking better questions during those meetings. And I was like, you got to try this as a broker. It's I think a particular good fit for brokers.
That is seriously fabulous. What is the implementation like? How does it plug into my CRM? Which CRMs can it play with? What is the implementation like?
Well, first of all, there's even a light version, and the light version is that you can actually use it without a CRM. Okay. And it's actually one of the first ways to actually experiment with it, because we all know, let's say in the insurance world, getting a system implemented is not always like, a thing that everyone is looking forward to, because there's complexities, there's compliance, there's lots of
That's a nice glass half full way to look at it.
So that's why we actually invented the way to already test it and pilot it without even an integration, and then actually to get acquainted to it. But obviously, you would typically connect it to a CRM, where it, of course, is even more powerful. And it takes, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks to basically get a first group of people working with it. It's not a lot of hand holding, not a lot of because actually Donna speaks to you, so you basically speak back, and the Donna is getting trained on what you actually are going to mention after the meetings. And as Jim said, the interesting aspect, like what do you need to configure, is basically a little bit the playbook, the visit report, whatever you want to get back from certain meetings. You give a couple of examples. Donna knows, like, hey, so this is a bit the structure that I'll need to follow. These are the questions that I need to ask. And that's it. In terms of the 2 to 4 weeks, they just come from basically the integration and the setup with the CRM. The actual work is a couple of days, let's say, to do, but you know how it goes, back and forth to actually get everything up and running. What we typically do actually to get everyone like excited is we give them a Donna already to start with, like without integration. They can actually start calling her, call her according to a playbook, and then everyone gets excited. We do that in insurance, we do that a lot, so that basically everyone in the business gets super excited, the IT department can test, and then in that way they can start talking about it. And in the end, as you said, Tony, it's all about like, wow, what would this have as a result? Like, what is the impact, is what everyone is then thinking about. And everyone understands like, hey, this is going to be potentially job life changing to a lot of them. And that's the reaction you actually get a lot. Like, this is going to change the way we operate, change the way we work, which is, and maybe to top it off, and this is my favorite, we measure the actual hit rates of fields and information within the CRM. So we actually measure before and after. So we measure what number of fields are filled in before, what is the length by which they are filled in, and then what is the length and what's the amount of fields that are filled in after. The results are crazy. So someone that is using the CRM, let's say, very well, ultimately will do that equally well and a lot better, like a lot richer context with Donna. But someone that is actually not using or underutilizing by a lot will skyrocket times 10 in terms of what they actually will be seeing in the CRM, and with literally 10 times less time involved.
That is, yeah, so exciting, so exciting. What is the pricing like, or the pricing philosophy?
The pricing philosophy is it's a per user model. So it's it's pretty simple to calculate. You have 10 users to start, you have 100 users, you have 1,000, you have 10,000. So it's a per user based model, and is charged annually. And the actual fee structure that we put in place for the insurance parties is based upon the initial package, the speed of deployment, and the total amount of users. It's pretty straightforward. We're not going to go work with credits or per conversation, which is typically not something that you can imagine. So we would do it per user, because also the value is also delivered on a per user basis.
Perfect. Is there a minimum size? So what I mean by that is like, is it 10 users minimum, or is this something that like small agencies that have 1 or 2 producers can still use?
We're typically starting at the minimum of 25.
Okay.
Yep. And our typical, I would say, companies, 100, 500, 1,000. So it really depends on large or small scale. But what is important is that typically we'll follow the philosophy together with LinkedIn together with Jimmy and the team, of the crawl, walk, run approach. Like we know that somehow there's always a distribution curve of users that will easily adopt this type of technology, or those that are a bit hesitant. And typically we find a group of early adopters, and those early adopters take 10, 15 people, 20 people that are basically just excited because as your reaction goes, Tony, like, you know, you're like, this is going to change my life, and I'm willing to actually, you know, take a dive. That's the crawl phase where basically people get hooked. Those are the early adopters. And then it's easy. It's interesting to see, like, a lot of the early adopters are talking, like from the first experience onwards. So your next group of followers is being immediately created within the first few weeks. There's of course the majority then, that the later majority that follows after. But crawl, walk, run is typically how we engage with people.
I've got to say, like I've read a lot about the curve, and your early adopters and fast followers and laggards and all that stuff, and innovation dilemma and all that stuff, and I agree with it. And a lot about change management, the ADKAR and the different change management philosophies. And again, I agree with them. But in this case, honestly, if I ran a sales team, and by the way, this is Tony's hot take. This is not Nicolas or Jim's. They might ask me to cut it out. But yeah, this is me speaking, nobody else. Okay. This is why I love being self-employed. If I ran a sales team and I offered them this technology, a B2B sales team, and I offered them this technology, and one of them wasn't excited to jump in, I would probably get rid of them. Because, like, how easy can it be? Just call the freaking number and then call afterwards. Like, we can.
Or it calls you, or it calls even you. So
if you're not willing to do that, then you should not be in B2B sales in 2025. You probably shouldn't have been in 1985. Okay, off of my what's it called? My thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'll get off of my bully pulpit or whatever. Okay, cool. So,
but spot on, Tony. So it is super easy to adopt. It almost feels natural to call. By the way, Tony, and Jimmy knows this because Jimmy has been, let's say, testing Donna, let's say, from, you know, everything that's basically she can do. And what's funny is that calling is one element, but let's assume for a second it's, you know, you're not in a good place to call. You can text, you can chat, you can voice note, you can basically interact with Donna in a fully 360-degree way. So it in a way gets even better because, you know, we know the generations before us, they like calling. Now, current generation, Gen Z, for example, says like, hey, but I'll leave a little voice note, or, you know, I'm rather chatting when I'm on the road. Yeah. That's actually not a problem. So Donna, you know, fulfills the needs of several generations. That's how we thought.
It's multi mode.
Your own situation, Tony, where you took notes during your sales meetings, because even in these days, you may not be comfortable recording a meeting, or it can be online or offline, doesn't really matter. You could take a picture of those notes, send that to Donna, and she structures the data which is on that note.
Not with my handwriting, but that's also.
You could be a good test case, I guess.
Exactly, I would be a really good test case. Fantastic. We talked about pricing. We talked about implementation. Origin story. How did you realize that this was a good fit for the insurance industry and that you were the right people to bring it into the industry?
Maybe I can talk a little bit about
Jimmy,
I mean, Nick has found his own way into the insurance industry, of course, but there's been a reason that we reached out to the guys at Donna last year, and it all had to do with a few conversations we had at InsurTech Insights last year, 2024. We talked to carriers, talked to brokers, and there was in particular one conversation we had with a regional VP at a large broker firm. And his number one frustration was that most of his salespeople, or most of his producer team, was spending more time, or too much time at least, in front of their screens and not enough time in front of their people, and meaning prospects and clients. And that stuck with me and my team back in the Netherlands, where we are originally from. And over the past months, that same challenge came back. So every broker we talked to had the same frustration about Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics. Those systems were built for the sales managers, the enterprise sales managers, not for salespeople, or more in particular, the producers. So when I saw this this video of Donna on LinkedIn, I immediately had to think of the challenges that we see in the insurance industry. And when I talked to Nicolas, I realized that insurance wasn't a particular focus for them at that time. And we talked more about those challenges in the insurance industry, and there was a lot of resonance with what they were actually trying to solve in other industries. So therefore, we thought of taking what they already validated with other industries into the insurance industry, because it would be such a good product market fit.
Thank you. Thank you. You deserve a statue.
It's indeed that. I would say I actually come from financial services industry myself. So before this, I had a previous company in fintech, and we were basically working a lot with banks and insurers. And so it's funny that the Donna story started actually not in fintech, but more like general sales tech. And I think what we try to do at the time, and that was a year and a half ago, we try to understand like which industries are now most skeptical for this change. Where would we actually be able to turn the needle? And I think it was sort of the combined work that Jimmy did, with his team. And then when we started to talk about, let's say, these are the industries, you think about medical devices and pharma, a lot of people are also on the road. But then talking to Jimmy and the team, understanding deeply those challenges, we basically said, yeah, it is actually pretty easy to make sure that we have a Donna for insurance. So we started to build together with the team of LINKITSYSTEMS the Donna for insurance, which is which was an immediate hit for a lot of the people that we showed it to. And I think, Tony, you mentioned something very interesting, which also was a part of our story, is that you were actually putting in the notes at some point because you had to, right? There was a policy or a way or a reason, and a paycheck, a commission that depends on it. So there's a lot of triggers which basically force you to actually do the notes, make the notes. And I think the fact that you have to make them, you have to insert them somewhere, it basically ensures that you will always have time reduction, so time saved with this. And that's actually something that is also in particular true for this insurance industry, which came immediately from the validation discussions we had with Jimmy.
And I'm somebody, I should clarify, I'm somebody who believes in the value of the notes. I'm somebody who has a really bad memory, and the next time I go on the meeting, I want to have really good notes, the notes from last meeting, to prepare for next meeting, right? Because I won't remember. You have a lot of salespeople that don't believe in the CRM, right? And thus, unless you're literally threatening to fire them because the notes never make it in, they just won't do it. And this makes it so that it's so painless that even if they don't believe it'll be helpful, they should do it.
Absolutely.
And imagine what you can do in combination with Donna and other systems. You could also think of how can you supercharge your CRM with data from other systems, like in broker space would be Epic or Vertafore, and take more of that account management data, bring that to your CRM, and feed Donna into having better conversations with the producer to actually help close deals or get a client back on track, so you get even better results out of your CRM and Donna.
This is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely Fantastic. I have only one very, very, very important question. Okay. When can I have it in smart glasses?
In smart glasses.
Yes, that's my wish list.
It's your cue to talk about the roadmap, Nicholas.
So your question is, when can I have it? Is that what you asked?
In smart glasses. When
In smart glasses.
A pair of glasses where I can go to the meeting and the glasses take the notes and send them to Donna.
So this is the fun part. So you're touching on something that not a lot of people actually dare to touch is ultimately, as Jim described, you're actually trying to get prepared into your next meeting by getting a lot of the data out of previous meetings, maybe scribbled notes that you put in, calls that you did with Donna. So we call this that you're tapping into a system of context. You're basically trying to look at different pieces of data and trying to put a story together for your next meeting. What's interesting is that everyone, of course, talks about chat, voice, and maybe pictures. But what if there's glasses that you are wearing during meetings that actually record those meetings and you have a lot of video material on? This will be later input for your next meeting again. But of course, those glasses with good AR, with good augmented reality, imagine what they could bring, basically you sitting in the meeting and in real time, actually saying like, hey, maybe it's now time that you say this. Like, hey, maybe from last time, we remember this, so why don't you put this forward? Tony, I think in 3 years, the glasses that you have on, they will do that. So we're following up this trend, like with, this is something that is really on our mind, because we believe that sellers that have a bit of augmented hardware, like glasses, they will be the best sellers ever. Because
I completely get what you were saying. I was thinking of it at kind of the first step, which is take the pain away from reporting back on the meeting. But it absolutely makes sense that the second step is feed me real time the data, right? So yes, no, this is awesome. This is ridiculously awesome. Absolutely ridiculously awesome. By the way, for the listeners, I've said it many times in the podcast, I do zero research ahead of time. And that's on purpose, so that the listeners can see and hear my real reactions. Because this has been such a great episode that I'm afraid of somebody going like I'm afraid of getting a text message from a friend going like, how much did they pay you to do that episode? Because you gave them like softball after softball after softball so they can hit it out of the park. No, the podcast is free for all guests. And before we got on the call, had no idea what Donna did. This is my honest reactions. I am just really excited for this technology because I've lived it, and it would change my life for the better. So guys, this is incredible, absolutely incredible. For the listeners, if you run a sales team of some sort, a B2B sales team of some sort, you would be moronic to not want a demo of this. For real. And by the way, I don't get commission on it.
Very kind word.
Wow, blown away. Blown away. That's all I've got. What else should I ask you that I haven't asked you? If not, we're good here. This has been a fantastic episode. When this goes live, I will tag you both on LinkedIn, and I'll include the link to the company. Any final words?
I would say I'm even blown away by your reaction. So no, it's been a pleasure, and I would say, think about this. If you imagine yourself running from one meeting to the next and asking yourself why at the end of the day you have to kind of put yourself in the chair in the living room and then open your laptop, as Jimmy nicely said, get in front of a screen, then obviously think about what would you have imagined in 5 years to happen? This is not the future. This is today. This is where now you can
It's
actually
freaking
call
Star
during the
Trek.
day to Donna. It starts today. You can call with Donna, and you basically have simply done the job that otherwise you would have done in the sofa or on that Sunday, as Tony you mentioned.
The way that I was trained, my former manager Brad, and I won't say his last name because we are connected on LinkedIn, and I do like him a lot. Brad trained us to you do the day of meetings or the day of conference, and by the way, we travel a lot. Like we travel like via plane a lot to different places and
Yeah,
conferences.
yeah, yeah.
So you're required to have X number of meetings for the day already scheduled to be able to book the flight. So you've chatted with, I don't know, 20 people during the day and somehow kept notes while running around a conference, or if it was actual sit down meetings, then you do have notes. And then take them out for dinner kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the way we got trained is after all of that, you get to the hotel room and you type in the notes into the CRM. I was
Exactly.
dead by that time. So I waited till the day before he ran the report, and that's when I put him in. What he himself did, this is the best part because he was a player coach. What he himself did is he would put them in that night, but the note would say, met with Nicolas. And
That's
we were all
exactly.
like, really? You get credit for that crap? What the hell do you do next meeting? You have no idea what you guys talked about last meeting. Oh, I
it's
have
a
a good
true
memory.
story. It's
Yeah,
a true story. It's a true
right.
story. That's what we actually put in the graph, like how much actually that increases with that extra context. It's crazy indeed.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to, I know I say this often, but in this case, I mean it twice as much. Love to have you back in a couple of years. Maybe bring a client, like come
And
back with the head
Tony,
of sales of some sort of insurance organization in the US, so that you can tell us what the product is doing nowadays and what like Donna, what Super Donna is doing 2 years from now, and they can tell us how it has radically changed their lives and their teams. Thank you both for your time today. Real pleasure.
can I point out one more thing,
Absolutely.
which is why I think Donna is such a great example of a technology that actually works or can work within an industry, is because it matches the way people in business actually work. And I think whenever you're in a decision-making position at an insurance company, find those technologies that make your producers or your people more enthusiastic about doing their job. So
Yes.
instead of
Yes.
working with CRM, find something that matches the way they actually work, right? And this is just a great example, and I'm hoping to see more of that also in your show.
Jimmy, mic drop moment. Truly, I couldn't have put it better. I'm a techie. I love technology. I'm very annoyed that for the last 15 years, my technology at home is better than my technology at work. I my last W2 job, I never even opened the laptop that they gave me because I realized that it was all web-based, so I could do it from my own Mac, and my Mac gave me a better experience. So when I left, I gave them back the laptop in its original box, and they were like, weird. And nowadays that I work for myself, I'm at the point where the technology that I use at home is just as good as the technology or the technology I use at work, just as good as the technology I use at home. But that's not the case for the majority of corporate professionals, especially in our world of insurance.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping make this better.
By the way, Tony, I was actually thinking about something which might be interesting for the entire audience. So if you send this podcast, this follow-up, there's actually a link. It's a secret link that we can actually share with people that they can talk with Donna.
Yes. Send me that so that it'll be in the show notes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Check the doobly-doo.
exactly.
Listeners, check the doobly-doo. Thank you so much for your time today. A real pleasure.
Yes,
Thanks, Tony.
happy to. Thanks, Tony.